Hello folks, patch 11.20 Ghosts of Karesh is just around the corner, and as always with a major patch, that means a bunch of new mounts to collect. There's a total of 24 new mounts in this patch, 2 of which are a little bit of a mystery. Now, if you've seen a higher number than 24 in other guides, that's because this patch also includes a bunch of data mined new mount models, most of which are flagged for the trading post. I'm not going to be covering those in this video as we don't know when those mounts will actually go live, and there's no guarantee that they'll even end up on the trading post before the next patch. Now let's get started with the easiest to get mounts, which are from the brand new Renown track, the Karesh Trust. At this moment in time, it does look like the Renown grind is going to be a lot shorter than it was in Undermine, at least for mounts. The Karesh Trust is a standard 20-track Renown, with all the usual rewards that we're used to, such as crests, flight stones, transmog, gear, and of course mounts. 3 of them in fact. The first mount unlock comes in at Renown 9, and this is a little unusual as the mount isn't actually on the vendor. Instead, you get the first of a 4-day mini quest line. The first 2 days have a single quest, the second of which is a cool little trading game, and days 2 and 3 have 2 quests each, with the final quests on day 4, a blue for you, awarding you the blue Barry mount. The other 2 mounts are a lot more conventional, with the Ruby Void Creeper costing 8,125 resonance crystals from the renowned Quartermaster Myhtic in the main hub in Karesh, and the other is Terror of the Wastes, costing you 11,375 resonance crystals, also from Myhtic. In the new patch, there are 2 new open world game systems, and both of these do award mounts. The first feature is phase diving. This is unlocked by your new artifact cloak, the Reshi Wraps. You will get your cloak during the main 11.20 campaign questline. This cloak has a mini talent tree which unlocks various open world bonuses, the first of which is access to phase diving. Once you obtain your cloak, you unlock a short questline which serves as an introduction to the phase diving feature, culminating in upgrading the cloak and getting access to untethered space. The mounts themselves are purchased from a new vendor, Shedanis, using a brand new currency called Untethered Coin, with the Acidic Void Creeper costing 7 untethered coin and the Lavender Carrot 10 untethered coin. Untethered space is essentially an alternate version of Karesh, very similar to Mechagon's Other Place or the Maw's Rift, and you enter it by interacting with phase diving conduits which are dotted all around Karesh. Unlike the main version of Karesh, you will not be able to fly when in untethered space, but the conduits do act as a very fast travel system to help you reach other parts of Karesh. Initially, you will not be able to use any mounts, but one of the later cloak upgrades will unlock mounted travel, transforming any mount you use into a special phase lost slateback mount. Untethered Space has a bunch of world quests, rares and treasures, and you'll also be getting a weekly quest, More Than Just a Phase, which will grant you 7 untethered coin a week, meaning that it will take you 3 weeks to get all of the mounts. Along with those 2 mounts on the vendor, there are also another 2 mounts that are associated with this event. The Phase Lost Slateback is awarded from the achievement Phase Lost and Found, which requires you to collect a full set of weapon transmogs. The way this achievement works is that the week 2 upgrade for your cloak will unlock orbs that will start to spawn within phase diving, which you can interact with for a chance at getting any of these transmogs. And a couple of weeks later, you'll get another talent on your cloak that will cause these orbs to start to spawn from enemies when you defeat them, which does mean that the collection process should speed up as the patch goes on. The other mount is Terror of the Night, which comes from another achievement, Vigilante, which requires completing all of the Kareshi warrants. Warrants are essentially weekly quest lines which you pick up from Constable Zozard in Tazavesh. This kicks off a short quest line to track down creatures that are captured by the brokers in Karesh. Once you find the creatures, you release them and defeat them. The creatures themselves can be found in both normal Karesh and also untethered space. There are 6 different warrants in total, meaning that the earliest that you can get this mount will be in week 6. The other main piece of new content is Ecological Succession, and this will be awarding the Curious Slateback. This mount has a chance to drop from the Wriggling Pinnacle cache, which comes from completing a weekly quest, also called Ecological Succession. This feature itself is unlocked through a short quest line, which starts with Omtalad near Tazavesh Inn. This quest unlocks towards the end of the 4th chapter of the campaign, which you will be able to do in week 1 of the patch. Once unlocked, none other than Venari will start sending us out to collect various species from across Azeroth, recruit helpers, or help her maintain her ecodome. As you progress, you'll unlock access to repeatable quests and other activities, along with new world events called Devourer Attack. All of these activities will contribute to filling the bar for the weekly quest and getting that all-important chance at the mount. The Devourer Attacks are themselves a rotating world event, similar to what we've become used to in Dragonflight and the War Within, and they also have a mount reward, the Translocated Gorger. The way that this works is that there are 4 Devourer Attacks located at the Oasis, Ecodome Primus, the Atrium, and Tazavesh, and these rotate every 15 to 30 minutes or so. Now, the timing of these events does seem to be a bit variable, and it appears that the timer may be based on when the previous event ends, which does mean that zoning in and out can end up putting you in a different shard with a completely different rotation. The event itself is quite simple and basically just involves filling a bar to make a rare spawn that you can then defeat. There's a different rare for each location, and the first time you defeat each rare each week on your warband, you will get a devoured energy pod. The mount itself requires collecting 20 of these, so it's going to take you at least 5 weeks to get the mount. Now, we're not currently exactly sure what combining the pods will do, but based on the tooltip, it seems likely that it will cause a rare to spawn that we'll then need to defeat for the mount. Staying in the subject of rares, and we have the Pearlescent Crowlusk. This drops from Urmag, which spawns every 1 to 2 hours in untethered space. When I did it in the PTR, there wasn't any map marker for it, so it may end up requiring a bit of camping. That said, the mount did drop for me on my very first attempt, which might just be ridiculous good luck, or more hopefully a sign that it does have a very high drop chance. Next up, we have Starb's Last Lunch, which drops from a rare called, oddly enough, Starbs. It spawns in the middle of the Oasis in Karesh, approximately every 60 minutes within untethered space. There is a map marker when the rare is up, and that map marker is visible in normal space as well. The rare itself does have some unusual mechanics. When you arrive at the phase diving conduit in the Oasis, there will be a portal nearby, and going near that portal will give you an extra action button, which will put you up to one of 4 platforms high in the air where you can join the fight. And during the fight, you will need to use some puddles to jump to other platforms from time to time. On the PTR, it does appear that this rare has a weekly per character loot lockout, so hopefully the rare also has a very high drop chance. Unfortunately, one thing we do know is that it is not 100%. And now there are a couple more mounts that are currently a little bit of a mystery. The first of these is the Resplendent Karok, which according to the Mount Journal is awarded from a world quest called the Hope of Karesh. This world quest hasn't been seen in the PTR at all, but it is worth saying that the mount that drops from the Dark Fused Precipitant was also flagged as being from a world quest, so I suspect that this will end up being similar and that it will actually require some kind of event that ends up spawning a rare. Given that this has not been found in the PTR, my best guess is that it will require doing the last chapter of the campaign, which will open up the week the raid opens. And the other mount is even more mysterious. The Zai Trustees Gear Glider is listed in the Mount Journal with a source of redacted. This seems to me to be very intentional by Blizzard. They for sure want us to know that this mount is out there, but not how to get it. One possibility would be that it is a reward from Tazavesh Hard Mode. The original Tazavesh Hard Mode did award a Gear Glider mount, and it would be kinda on form to have another as a little incentive to go and do Hard Mode again. But but I personally don't really see why Blizzard would want that to be a secret. And that makes me think that the more likely explanation is that this is hinting towards a new in-game secret involving the cartel's eye. Again, with both of these mounts, once we know more, I will update a pinned comment down below, and if any of the mounts turn out to be a lot more involved to get, I may even do an additional guide. So make sure to subscribe if you're not already so that you don't miss out on that. Anyways, that's all the new open world mounts, but there are still plenty of other mounts we can collect. The new raid Manaforge Omega has a total of 5 mounts. It's been a long-standing tradition for the final ahead of the curve of an expansion to award a mount, and Manaforge Omega is no exception with the Royal Voidwing. This is an armoured version of the BFA's curve mount, which is on theme, but does kinda feel a bit samey to me for an ahead of the curve reward. Ahead of the curve mounts are generally only available until the end of the expansion, so this won't likely be obtainable in future expansions. And for Mythic Raiders, Dimensius will be dropping the Unbound Star Eater. Usually in the current expansion you get 2 of these guaranteed to drop with every boss kill, with the mount changing to be a very low, most likely 1% drop chance when the next expansion begins. And the achievement mount for the Glory of the Omega Raider is the Umbral Karok. These are usually obtainable beyond the end of the expansion, but as Glory achievements are rarely soloable in full, it does tend to be a lot easier to find groups midway through the current season. And also from the raid, we're also seeing the return of the raid Renown track, the Manaforge Vandals. This track is reduced from 20 steps last season down to just 15, and now awards 2 mounts. At Renown 9, we'll get the Vandals Gear Glider, and at Renown 14, the Bone Freezer. Moving over to Mythic Plus, and as with Season 2, we're going to be getting 2 mounts. The Azure Void Flare is awarded for Keystone Master, which requires a score of 2000. Usually that needs a mixture of +7 and +8 keys to get. And the Scarlet Void Flare comes from Keystone Legend, requiring a score of 3000. That's a mixture of +12 and 13 keys. Both of these mounts are almost certainly going to be time limited and will be going away when the next expansion starts. For Delves, we're getting the Delver's Mana Skimmer. This is awarded from the introductory questline to Season 3 Delves, and like the other Delve mounts, will be customizable. And the new challenge boss mode, Nexus Princess Kaiveza, will be awarding a full transformation hyperdrive from hard mode. That skin will also likely be going to a very low drop once the next expansion arrives. Moving over to PvP next, and there's the usual 3 mounts. The Vicious mounts are the Vicious Void Creeper, which will come in Alliance and Horde versions. These will likely be obtainable in future via the Vicious Saddle system. And the Gladiator mount is the Astral Gladiator's Fellback, something that will only be available to obtain during Season 3. And last, but definitely not least, the Brewfest Holiday is also getting a brand new mount. The Brewfest Barrel Bomber will be dropping from the Corendire Brew encounter during Brewfest. While this is not confirmed, I'm personally expecting that this will follow the pattern of other recent additions to holiday events and will either only be obtainable on your very first attempt per day per account, or possibly have a much reduced drop chance on subsequent attempts. Either way, it is very likely to have a much higher drop chance than the other holiday mounts used to have. And that's it for the main 11.2.0 mounts. There's certainly going to be a lot to do for mount collectors in patch 11.2.0, although it doesn't look like it's going to require quite the level of grinding that Undermine did. Personally, I'm really hoping to get my hands on that new Brewfest mount, along with those awesome looking Karok mounts. But what about all of you? Do you have a favourite new mount in the lineup? Let me know down below. If you found this update helpful, entertaining, or even just plain annoying, then do let me know by hitting that like icon. And if you want to support my channel to grow and to help me make more of these videos along with my other content, then also make sure to hit that subscribe button right now before you forget. And if you don't want to miss out whenever I release a new video, then as well as subscribing, you can follow me in social media. My link's in the description below as well. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.